Ave Legion and welcome to my channel. My name is Ludi and today we're going to do our top 10 strongest mission trees in 1.30. The things that we'll take into account will be the flavor that the missions tree add, the permanent modifiers, as well as the permanent claims and the expansion opportunities offered. If we get this video to 1,500 likes, I'm going to do a top 10 best vassals to have in 1.30. And if we get it to 3,000 likes, I'm also going to do a special Ludi Life video using their hose to get filthy rich. The Dithmarschens actually have a super good mission tree. Surprisingly, this OPM in the north of Germany comes with quite a few unique missions. We have 11 unique missions aside from the generic missions that actually synergize super well together, and the first missions will give you some temporary boosts to your production plus 30%, as well as give you some permanent claims on various areas. The fun starts once we get the permanent modifiers, namely we get the Peasants' War that until the end of the game gives you plus 20 spy network construction and rebel support efficiency plus 30%, followed up by Conquest of Bread that gives goods produced plus 20% until the end of the game, and the Break the Chains that gives you admin efficiency plus 5 until the end of the game, and a permanent claim on the entire Russian region. Yes, that is correct. Lenin didn't start in Switzerland, he started in Dithmarschen, making his way towards the glorious revolution apparently. The reason all of these ideas are super overpowered is because they are permanent modifiers, and you can start off as Dithmarschen and then form other nations such as, for example, Prussia, use their permanent modifiers, and then form Germany and use their permanent modifiers also. Next up is the Aragonese mission tree. The Aragonese have their own amazing mission tree that can basically give them claims on the entirety of the Mediterranean. It is divided in 3 different parts. The right hand side of the mission tree gives you claims on the Barbary coast and Algiers, followed up with more claims on Kabylia and Tunisia, and after you've conquered Tunisia, you can get claims on the Delta and Cyrenaica area, basically the northern part of the Mamluks. With the occupation of that, you get claims on all of the Palestine and Syria, and towards the end you get Diplorep plus 2 for 20 years. In the center of the mission tree, you can get permanent claims on all of Greece after you've integrated the Neapolitans, and with the conquest of Greece, you get claims on Albania, as well as Thrace, Macedonia, and eventually Hudavendigar, Aydin, and all of the areas in the Anatolian part, leading up to the Mare Nostrum mission much later down the line that gives you 50 prestige and mercantilism. The left hand side of the mission tree revolves around taking over the Ligurian parts, followed up by the other Italian parts going into Venice and Tuscany, as well as Piedmont, with basically claims on the entirety of the Italian peninsula. Ruling the Italian peninsula gives you claims on Dalmatia, Croatia, and all of the Balkan areas. At the same time, you can get some permanent modifiers for the city of Valencia that give you plus 25% goods produced until the end of the game. And towards the bottom part of the mission tree, you can start off by getting permanent claims on the entire Castilian area, which likely won't be necessary as you will be able to get a PU over Castile from the event that triggers into the game if you start playing as Aragon. After you've gotten all of Castile, you get permanent claims on the southern part of France, and afterwards you can get claims on the entire French region, as well as you can get a PUCB against the Portuguese and permanent claims on the Granadan area. If you paid attention, it is literally the borders that you need to form the Roman Empire. That is correct. If you play as Aragon, you have all the permanent claims, personal union CBs to reform the Roman Empire by simply following your mission tree. Next up is the Epirus mission tree. This mission tree is actually the crusader mission tree, so you get it available for a few other crusader states around the Mediterranean. This mission tree starts off with the crusader fleet that offers you Aleppo and the Palestine areas as permanent claims once you have your fleet up to standards, followed up with the successful crusade for Jerusalem that gives you a really great event, as well as a permanent claim on the Transjordan area. The restoration of the Knights Hospitalier gives you permanent claims on the Syrian and the Syrian desert area, and having the Kingdom of Heaven gives you more claims on basically the Mamluks homeland area here in Egypt, with the Land of Moses giving you until the end of the game people influence plus 1 and permanent claims on the Tigray area. You can also get more modifiers until the end of the game, such as missionary maintenance cost minus 25%, a special event of the Ark of the Covenant once you go into the Ethiopian lands that I'm not gonna spoil for you, the Fountain of Youth, which is the only event in the game that gives you average monarch lifespan plus 15%. This basically means that your leaders are gonna live slightly longer than they would otherwise. Once you get hold of Malta, you can get until the end of the game local defensiveness plus 50%, making it a true stronghold. This also comes with permanent claims on 4 of these cities in Tunis, and after you've taken these cities, you get more claims on the entire Tunisian area and the Barbary coast area. Getting rid of the Barbary pirates gives you morale of navies plus 10% and ship trade power plus 15%. Taking over all of Greece and the northern part of the Anatolian Peninsula, you can get the Latin Empire event happen that also adds a super interesting flavor. Despite being small, the mission tree that the Crusader states have has some insanely overpowered permanent modifiers that can help you out a lot if you start off as one of these nations and tag switch to another nation afterwards, combining the 2 mission trees. And up next, the most border gorish nation of them all, Provence. Provence, a nation that starts in about 1,000 places in Europe, or just 3, has a very short but super interesting and powerful mission tree. It's basically divided on 2 sides, one side giving them all the claims and the union CBs that they need, and the other side giving them some modifiers, a lot of which are permanent. Starting off with the claims of King Rene, after you've taken the province of Corsica from Genoa and you have 100 development in your nation, you're gonna get cores, not claims, but cores on all of Naples. That means that you can get your nation basically doubled in size from taking over your cores from Naples after they've gotten their independence. Aside from the cores, the same mission gives you permanent claims on the Western Mediterranean islands. That means Sardinia, Balearics. After you've gotten Naples as well, you can get more claims on East and West Sicily, a free upgrade to the kingdom rank, and a restoration of Union CB against Aragon. That means you should have by this point Naples, you can take over the Balearics, Sardinia, Sicily for yourself, and you can PU whatever is left in Aragon here. Making the Aragonese your junior partner here is going to give you another restoration of Union CB against Hungary, which means that you can make the Hungarians your junior partner and also get 200 Diplo points. Taking the islands of Sicily and Malta from the Aragonese will give you more claims on the Palestine, Syrian, and Transjordan area, which means that you can directly declare war on the Mamluks and take over these lands, thus reforming yourself into the Kingdom of Jerusalem, which is available from the start once you own the 3 provinces of Gaza, Jerusalem, and Jaffa. Any Stargate fans out there? Finishing off these 4 missions is gonna give you a free upgrade to an Empire rank, as well as until the end of the game, Diplo annexation cost minus 20%. On the other side of the mission tree, we have the Conquest of Avignon, which you don't even need to conquer. You can get it for free from the Papal States if you have good relations with them and they didn't rival you. That's going to give you a lot of claims on basically all of the south part of France and the Savoyan part. And then you can get a permanent claim on the entire French region right after that. At the same time, we can get until the end of the game production efficiency, tax, and manpower plus 10% for the city of Eu or Marseille, as it's going to be renamed after you do this mission. Followed up with the city of Toulon getting its own permanent modifiers until the end of the game. And the whole of Provence gets army drill gain modifier plus 25 and regiment drill loss minus 25. Next up is the least Mongolian of Mongolians, namely the Mughals. The Mughals start off with a really impressive mission tree. You start by getting your claims on the entirety of Punjab, and afterwards you get more claims on the northwestern parts of India, working your way towards the central part. You get even claims on the entire Persian, Khorasan, Transoxiana, Transcaspian, Chivan, Kutalan areas, basically all of the Timurids areas. After securing the northeastern part of India, you get more claims on the Burmese lands. With the conquest of Burma, you can even get claims on Ming itself, and after you've taken parts of Ming and the Dai Viet areas, you get for 25 years trade efficiency and goods produced plus 20%. Also, after the conquest of Burma, you get claims on the entire Southeast Asian peninsula, and with the conquest of this peninsula, you get more claims on the Malaccan area and the Indonesian parts. On the other side of the mission tree, you get more claims on the central part and the south part of India. Basically, all of India, the Timurid lands, Southeast Asia, Indonesia, and South China are covered by your claims. Once you manage to get the Grand Trunk Road, you can get 5 mercantilism and some trade power for 20 years, and can even get until the end of the game for the Central Doab region, City of Victory, that basically gives you until the end of the game a local construction cost, a local dev cost minus 10 as well, and legitimacy plus 0.5 for your whole nation. Taking over the central parts of India will give you 1,000 ducats, 20 prestige, and for 30 years yearly inflation and goods produced, as as well as claims on all of the south right after that. Another interesting permanent modifier is the Ajmer Suba, which gives you minus 10 dev cost, local defensiveness plus 25, and state maintenance minus 30%. Despite not giving too many permanent modifiers, the mission tree that the Mughals boast basically give you all the free claims that you need to establish a massive empire that will be the footprint for your world conquest. If you're Roman and you know it, clap your hands. Nope, not you, Byzantium. You're not Roman. You're just Greek pretending to be Roman. But hey, anyway, let's check out their mission tree. The Byzantines actually have a super interesting mission tree. Technically, they are still the Eastern Roman Empire, right? So because of that, they get a ton of permanent claims on pretty much all of the Balkans, the Anatolian part through their mission tree. And then they get more permanent claims on the Syrian side, on the Mamelukes, pretty much all of the Mamelukes, even them working their way into the Tunisian lands, and on the Italian peninsula. The permanent claims that you get from their mission tree even reach the North Moroccan area and the Upper and Lower Andalusian area. In essence, you will be able to recreate the Eastern Roman Empire of Justinian, which tried to recreate the Roman Empire with his great general Belisarius. Some other highlights of their mission tree is the fact that you get a ton of development in Constantinople and a few permanent modifiers such as the national manpower plus 25%, which is insane considering that you are an Orthodox nation that can get another 33% local manpower modifier from your own patriarchal authority. Securing northern Italy will give you even more development. You also get a few temporary modifiers such as the theme of Sicily and so on, and the pentarchy after you've conquered most of the holy cities that offer until the end of the game plus 2 missionary strength and tolerance of the true faith, which is sort of overpowered considering that your own ideas give you another plus 3 missionary strength and tolerance of the faith plus 3. This means that for a world conquest, Byzantium, despite starting off as a very small nation, is really well suited for it. Next up is the Bohemian mission tree. Bohemia in 1.30 has a ton of flavor added to it, and if you decide to go hussite, you can get a hussite center of reformation from one of your first missions. After you've integrated Silesia, where you have your 2 vassals, you get permanent claims on the Slovakian area. With the conquest of Slovakia, you can get a PU restoration CB against the nation of Hungary. At the same time, you can also get a PU restoration against Poland, and with the conquest of Poland, you can also get more permanent claims on the Teutonic lands. After conquering Nitra and the Hungarian lands, you can also get permanent claims on Austria together with a nice construction cost minus 10% and fort maintenance minus 20%, and afterwards can even get permanent claims on Bulgaria, Silistria, and on all provinces in the Carpathians or Balkans that are owned by the Ottomans. Enacting your revenge for Nicopolis gives you 50 power projection, and defenestrating the heretics can give you until the end of the game Diplo Rep plus 1 and Missionary versus Heretics plus 1%. This works well with the production efficiency plus 10% that you also get until the end of the game, and the Years of Separatism minus 5 and Monarch skill points plus 1 until the end of the game that you can get as well. Not to mention the Bohemian Commonwealth that also gives until the end of the game Diplo annexation cost minus 15%. Besides the permanent modifiers and the restoration of unions, you can also get subjugation CBs on Brandenburg together with Saxony, making it easier conquering your neighbors to the north, especially since aggressive expansion is going to be an issue within the HRE. Despite being quite small, the Bohemian mission tree offers a ton of permanent modifiers as well as restoration of union and subjugation CBs, and to add it up, you can even get crystals in the province of Rudohori as well as 9 overall development in Olomouc. Putting the P in the Russia, we got the Prussia. That is correct. The Prussian mission tree is one of my personal favorite mission trees in the game, and seriously one of the most overpowered mission trees available. Structured in 2 parts. First off, it revolves around taking back Neumark if you're playing as Brandenburg, which is going to give you permanent claims on all of Pomerania, followed up with permanent claims on the Prussian parts or the Teutonic parts at the start, which leads to the University of Königsberg that gives you 200 admin power. Also, if you're lucky and you get the PU on Ansbach, you get permanent claims on the entire Franconian region, followed up by getting Franconian as an accepted culture. Having 15 owned provinces directly in the North German area, which you can do after you've basically taken Neumark and the 5 Wolgast provinces, gives you permanent claims on the entirety of the northwest side of Germany, followed up with permanent claims on Braunschweig, North Westphalia, and South Westphalia. A balance in power gives you 25 power projection, and the conquest of Westphalia gives you more claims on the North Rhine region. Altogether, you can basically get claims on pretty much all of Germany here, and even claims on a majority of the Polish lands together with the Silesian lands. land. But what really makes it shine is the other missions that you get that gives you specific flavor. After you've gotten your claims on Hesse and the Palatinate, and you've basically got the permanent claims on the entire North Germany region, next up you're gonna get the +5 admin efficiency until the end of the game. As I previously mentioned, if you mix this in with the +5 from Dithmarschen and the +5 that you can get from forming Germany from their mission tree also, you get +15 permanent admin efficiency simply from the 3 mission trees. But aside from this, we also have the professional army that gives you a massive boost to your army, as well as renovation of Berlin that gives -20% dev cost reduction in the province of Berlin, and also you can get militarization +0.02 and yearly army tradition decay -1%. This is amazing because militarization is going to be an issue for Prussia once you have too much over your governing capacity. The army reforms will give you a great event also that improves your army professionalism and gives you some permanent boost. Similarly, the reform the state also gives another insane event that gives permanent boosts. La creme de la creme, enlightened absolutism, gives you for the rest of the game permanent modifier of +20 maximum absolutism. And last but not least, an army with the state gives you the -15% reform cost, army drill gain modifier +25, and regimental drill loss -25 until the end of the game. When it comes to overpowered, the Eu4 and Yuan mission tree definitely qualifies as it has some of the most insane modifiers and claims in the world. Starting off, after you've integrated Mongolia, you can get permanent claims on the entire Mongolian region, followed up by permanent claims on the Tibet, Central Asian, and North Chinese regions, followed up by permanent claims on the Shinan and South China region, with an interesting event after you've captured the Dalai Lama in Tibet. Moving along, permanent claims on all of Persia, Khorasan, and the Pontic Steppes, as well as on the entire Anatolian and Mashariki regions, basically all of the Ottomans and the Mamluks, all of Russia together with all of Ruthenia. That means that you get claims on pretty much all of Eastern Europe here, all of the Polish region as well, and all of the Japanese region together with a permanent modifier until the end of the game of yearly prestige +1, and permanent claims on the Kenai and San Indo areas. When it comes to permanent modifiers, aside from the prestige, you also get tolerance of the true faith +1 until the end of the game, and national unrest -3 together with stab cost modifier -15%. Also, to top it off, after you've conquered the Russian region, you get province war score cost -15%. That means Eu4 into Yuan is the best nation for a world conquest. You also get some massive boost to your mana points from some of the missions, but that is not going to be a massive deal since you'll be able to get all the mana you want from raiding everything that you take. If you fancy your cousin more than you should be, then the Austrian mission tree is going to be on your liking. Austria is the centerpiece in the 1.30 update, and as such, they got a masterful mission tree. I don't think anything says flavor as well as the AEIOU of the mission trees, namely the Austrian mission tree. The amount of personal union CBs and modifiers that we have in this mission tree is ridiculous. The easiest and first one to get is the secure electors, which you basically need to have 5 electors voting for you from the start, and that can be done within the first month of the game, and that will give you a restoration CB against Bohemia, which means that you can get Bohemia and their 2 vassals from the start under your control, followed up with the decline of Hungary after you've basically taken Bohemia, which means that you have enough development. You can get the restoration of Union CB against Hungary, and if you haven't watched my live stream on Austria, I managed to get both of these within the first 3 years of the game. You also get a ton of permanent claims on various regions together with some temporary modifiers that can give you diplomatic annexation costs, land force limit modifiers, development costs, imperial authority, or various mana points such as diplo, admin, and so on. But you also have a ton of permanent modifiers in this mission tree, including the Ostend Company that gives you merchants +1, colonial range +25, and global trade power +5%, as well as permanent claims on all of the coastline, level 1 and higher centers of trade in India and the East Indies. This basically secures your conquest of India. Having a foothold in India gives you more claims on the Chinese regions and the Indonesian parts, with later down the line claims on Australia and South China, and some tariff and trade bonuses. More permanent modifiers that we can get include United by Religion, which you get yearly papal influence +1 until the end of the game. You can also get a Roman Empire until the end of the game that gives you imperial authority +0.10, and AEIOU that offers 25 power projection alongside yearly absolutism +0.5. You can also upgrade your government rank into the Imperial Austrian government rank that offers +2 diplo skills for your monarchs guaranteed, a ton of have more permanent claims all around Europe and basically the entire world. A restoration CB against Milan, as well as a restoration of Union CB against Poland or the Commonwealth. So I recommend that you wait until the Commonwealth is formed, so then afterwards you can just PU the Commonwealth rather than Poland. You also can get permanent claims on a lot of the HRE itself, including the Bavarian parts, and later down the line even the Swiss parts and the Swabian parts, and can even get on the entire Balkan region a permanent claim, as well as any other province owned by the Ottomans within Europe. So for example, if the Ottomans start taking lands in Lithuania or Crimea, you're going to get claims on those provinces also. You can also mix your temporary bonuses, for example the Diplo annexation cost -20 with the other Diplo annexation cost -10 to integrate your vassals or personal union members faster. After you've gotten rid of the Ottomans, you can get Diplo rep +1 and missionary strength +2%, and the creme de la creme is the glory to von Habsburgs that gives you 50 power projection and admin efficiency +5% until the end of the game. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like, and if we get to 1,500 likes, then I am going to do a top 10 best vassals in 1.30 video. I also want to give a very big shout out to my patrons and channel members. Thank you so much guys for all the support you've been offering me. If anybody else wants to check my Patreon or become a channel member, then you can check the links in the description. So until the next one, have a great day everybody.